Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. All right, so this, I'm not even sure how to pronounce his name, Cenk Uygur, the guy from the Young Turks, he was on Tim Pool's podcast today, and he just lost his mind. He was not in a normal, grounded state for a person to be guesting on any program, and I really think what did it, I watched most of it. I didn't watch the entire program, but I watched a big chunk of it today. And I think what happens a lot of times when you get a liberal in a studio with someone who doesn't agree with them totally, they just start to lose it because liberals cannot handle even the slightest bit of disagreement.
And they can't handle the truth either.
Yeah. So this young Turk guy who he used to be on MSNBC. If you guys remember, years ago, he was on MSNBC. And, the Young Turks, it was him and this one guy that hosts the old movies on TV.
Yeah, Mankiewicz.
Yeah, Ben Mankiewicz.
Yeah.
And so anyway, let me just play this first clip. And
his grandfather was a big Hollywood producer back in the day.
Yeah, and I'll put this in context in a little bit, but Tim Pool asked they're in a panic over Trump, the Democrats. In fact, coming up, later in the program, the Democrats have declared a national emergency over Donald Trump, which we're going to get to in a few minutes. But first, let's get to
oh my God, they're insane.
Cenk Uygur.
Cenk.
Cenk.
Yeah, or Skank.
I don't know.
One or the other.
I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, let me play the clip. This is the first one. He's asked by Tim Pool, who's the Republican that can win, that can beat Trump, that can win it all, and knock Trump out of the picture, which they're panicked over.
So who's the Republican who can win? Well, it does depend on one thing, which is me winning my court case. Okay. Oh, I see. But you bring in Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay, now before I get to the rest of this about Arnold Schwarzenegger, this guy here, he wants to run for president, but he was born in Turkey. So I guess he has a court case. He
wants to run for president?
Yeah, he announced this
against who? Biden? He's a liberal.
I don't know. But
he'd be running against Biden. He's a liberal guy.
Yeah, well, he's from Turkey, and to be president of the United States, you have to be a natural-born citizen of the United States. And
so he thinks he can change the Constitution.
That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, okay.
But a lot of people don't, this didn't come up in this discussion, but he thinks Arnold Schwarzenegger is a great candidate. I've got news for you. No. Arnold Schwarzenegger's father was a Nazi. Yeah. And I don't know. I know the Young Turks. We're all opposed to Nazis, and I'm going to go a step further. I don't think the children of Nazis should be president of anything. I like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies. I used to go to the theater to see I went to the theater to see Kindergarten Cop. Okay, so I grew up on Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I really don't think it's a good idea to advocate for the presidency of the United States, the son of a Nazi, no matter how much we like his movies.
I agree.
So who's the Republican who can win? Well, it does depend on one thing, which is me winning my court case. Okay. Oh, I see. But you bring in Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, hear me out. Right. Hear me out. He is a Republican in two very important ways that today would resonate. And I wish that a Democrat would do it instead. Okay. But one, since he's already rich and he loves this country, he hates corruption and he speaks out against corruption. Okay. Boom, you're going to win already. Okay. You're a non-objectionable Republican against corruption. You're going to win in a landslide if you ask me. Okay. But hold on. It gets better for you guys. He's also hates the crime that has risen in places like California and in the big cities like New York, Chicago, et cetera, right?
Okay. We all hate the crime, okay? I mean, that's ridiculous. So anyway, that's part one. And I don't think he's aware that Arnold Schwarzenegger is the son of a Nazi. So here's another clip. I just have 3 clips of this young Turk, and then we'll move on to important things. But everyone's talking about this guy because he was on Tim Pool today. It's like trending on Twitter. And if I were interviewing the guy, well, the first thing I'd have to do is get down the pronunciation of his name. I pulled up a video on YouTube, listened to it like 3 times before the show, and I still can't remember how to pronounce his strange name. I'm sorry. Anyway, my name's Brian Craig. That's very easy to pronounce. These other names I don't get. But if I had this guy on and he promoted Schwarzenegger, the first thing I would say is, well, he's the son of a Nazi. You know that, right? I mean, do you think that's a smart idea to having it? Do you want that to be the
Stupid.
So here's a clip where he's talking about some other things.
We heard that in 8th grade he was smoking marijuana. He was evil and had it coming. Did you know George Floyd might have stolen $20 whole? Oh my God, these black people, they're so evil. Did you know that Trayvon Martin was caught in school maybe smoking pot? And that's why Zimmerman had to murder him in cold blood. He had it coming. He had it coming. So I can
Okay. Now, what he's doing here in this is really quite racist and quite possibly homophobic as well, because what he's doing here is he is imitating what he would call a right-winger, which would be like a MAGA conservative, a right-winger saying racist things about Trayvon Martin in his mind. And he's sounding like he's like effeminate in that, right?
He sounded like a Valley Girl.
Yeah, a mix between Valley Girl and a gay man, and so the mocking, the racial mocking with a little tinge of it's both racist towards white people and possibly homophobic. We'll play a little bit more. I don't know if there's more of this that we need, but I just thought I'd point that out, that you've got some. Oh, and yes, one of the biggest liberal crimes of all. Would that be cultural misappropriation, imitating someone of a different ethnicity?
Understand if conservatives and right-wingers have done that, and so you're just frustrated and don't want to hear it, but I'm not doing that.
It's in the Ahmaud Arbery case and the George Floyd case, you're taking the most extreme cases with the
I'm going to play more. Arbery, those guys are going away for the rest of their lives. What they did was wrong. The system worked there. And George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin, these are all very controversial things that I don't want to relive right now because they're old stories. But his attitude, his position is that conservatives are racist. And I'm telling you that is not the case. Remember, Republicans freed the slaves. More Republicans voted for the Civil Rights Act than Democrats. Democrats were the segregationists. Democrats were the Klan. And I know they'll tell you that switch today. Nothing could be further from the truth. We almost just had the first African-American Speaker of the House, the Republicans, a few days ago.
A lot of people are prone to automatically taking the side opposite of their political, the other political side without even really thinking. That happens a lot too, including him. I mean, I'm sure there are things that he deep down agrees that Trump is doing are right, but he would never admit it because he hates Trump, but he's going to take the opposite position no matter what.
I bet
a lot of people do that.
I bet you the Young Turks take all those Trump tax cuts on their taxes every year.
I didn't agree with George Zimmerman. Brian and I said that he should have gone to jail. It was wrong what he did, but you got a lot of heat from your listeners.
Yeah, I did.
But sometimes people will... So he shouldn't stereotype.
He's racially stereotyping.
Yeah, but sometimes, like I said, people, if a Democrat goes on TV and defends something, like say defends Trayvon, then a lot of conservatives will automatically take the opposite position and vice versa. That happens all the time, and you have to be careful about that. It's okay to think for yourself. And even though you and I said that Trayvon Martin was murdered and that George Zimmerman should have gone to prison, you got a lot of heat from your listeners, but you stuck to it. And you're like, look, that's how I feel. And I agree with you. I mean, I think he killed a kid in cold blood. I'm sorry. And but people get so set on a side that they don't want to deviate from that, God forbid, or, somebody might paint them a liberal or a conservative.
And I'll tell you another thing
Just have your own
the Young
mind,
Turk.
have your own thoughts.
I'll tell you another thing about the Young Turk. He's talking about right-wingers and Trayvon and Arbery. There's only one elected member of the government that's taken a gun out, a shotgun, and went after a black man, and that, of course, is Fetterman. Fetterman, a few years ago, when he was mayor, he got a shotgun, got out of his car, and went after a black jogger. Remember that story?
I did not know that.
Yeah, so if you want to talk about who's going after, and by the way, the one he went after was not the black guy they were looking for. It was an innocent guy who was just
It's
jogging.
okay to agree with the other side once in a while and have common sense. And that's what Trump's trying to do. He's trying to say, look, this is just common sense, what I'm doing. You don't have to,
Exactly.
People just disagree with Trump because he's Trump.
Well,
he's a conservative.
It's the
but
R
just
next.
common sense.
The R next to someone's name triggers leftist. And
this guy was definitely triggered.
And the thing about Donald Trump, a lot of liberals, like the Bernie Sanders people, should be supporting him, because one of the things that Donald Trump is against the most, this is why he has problems with the Republicans, is he's against the military industrial class and these donors having control over our government, bypassing the people. And that's why he has so many Republican establishment people after him, because they're owned by the donors. Now, this next clip is our young Turk here, and he's talking about right-wingers.
I think he needs to take off the young off his name.
Yeah, he hasn't been young in a while. Yeah. The old Turks.
The old Turk.
The old Turks.
At this point, the FBI, which is historically massively right-wing, the idea...
He's joking, I hope.
Right-wing.
That's ridiculous.
The FBI brought down Richard Nixon. Okay, they infiltrated Nixon with Watergate, and the FBI used.
What about Peter Strzok? What about all these guys? Give me a break.
The FBI leaked information illegally to Woodward and Bernstein. Woodward and Bernstein were not investigative reporters; they were handed everything by felt from the FBI. The FBI have been after Donald Trump since he was running in 2015, like Peter Strzok and others. So this idea that they're right wingers. The FBI are not right-wingers or left-wingers. They are a secret government. Let me give you an example, Kathy.
Yeah.
A story came out this week. They're not left or right, okay? They're just into their own power. And there was a story out this week that FBI field offices around the country had gathered 40 witnesses with evidence of Biden crimes. They turned it over to their superiors at the Washington, D.C. office, which is where the FBI headquarters are. And the FBI office of all the FBI bosses killed the investigation, and they used that as having power over Joe Biden. In fact, Jesse Waters on Fox a night or two ago was talking about how the FBI has been blackmailing Biden. So the FBI is not right nor left wing. They're really the secret government. So
people also make the mistake of thinking that all cops are conservative.
Oh, that's not.
They all follow orders.
Derek Chauvin.
They're all following orders, guys. They're good soldiers. That's what they're trained to do.
Derek Chauvin, in the George Floyd case, is a Democrat.
Exactly. It's a misconception.
Yeah. So let me get back to. I'll rewind it a little bit. This is our old Turk talking about the right wingers.
At this point, the FBI, which is historically massively right-wing, the idea that the FBI is some sort of left-wing deep state is hilarious.
Not backed up by
a single fact. But so the right wing, so the FBI is saying, hey guys, we wish it weren't the case, but most of the domestic terrorists in America now are right-wingers.
Oh my goodness.
He's really dumb. First of all, Comey, all those guys worked very hard to bring down Trump. They're all liberals, so I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
But Comey's a Republican.
Well, like you said, they have a secret government, and they just use the opposing sides to manipulate people. Exactly. They have a whole other agenda.
They are not. Comey's a registered Republican, but believe me, he's no Republican. They become members of a particular party based on where the power structures are at the particular time when
he's just limited in his thinking, and he's stupid. He's a useful idiot, as I call him.
Like for example, Colin Powell was a Republican registered, but he wasn't a Republican. But he came up during those Reagan years,
right?
So so he was a Republican to come up, and look, he was Joint Chief. So this guy is out of his mind. Now I want to tell you guys this. Mike Lindell at MyPillow has what I've been calling the specials, extra discounts on top of his already discounted prices with our promo code at checkout, Kane, Kane. And we have our own MyPillow website where these specials are available. These are not available on the regular MyPillow.com website. We have our own website, and I can't even use it on the radio because it's a little complex. It's mypillow.com/Kane. And if I do commercials on the radio, mypillow.com/Kane, people, it's too much, when people are driving in their cars. But what I can do, those of you that listen to the podcast and watch me on YouTube, our personal mypillow.com/Kane link is in the description of this episode, both on all the podcast platforms and on YouTube. Now, you still have to use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, to get the deals. But these specials that Mike Lindell has added, since he's had some of these troubles with, all these lawsuits and everything, where you're saving just boatloads of money on top MyPillow products. Like the MyPillow My Slippers are $100 off with our promo code Kane. So click that link, and you'll see all the what I call the special specials, the heavily discounted MyPillow products with the top MyPillow products at their lowest prices ever, the lowest prices you've ever seen. The link is in the description on whatever platform you're listening to us on. And remember, you still have to use the promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. We'll be right back.
This Christmas, give the gift of creativity, imagination, and endless fun with B-Blocks Building Blocks, available on Amazon. B-Blocks Building Blocks isn't just a fun gift, but it's educational too. It's a STEM toy of 500 pieces. That's right, 500 pieces to ignite your little one's creativity. Children will be introduced to a world of colors, shapes, and designs. They'll learn to play and create with 8 vibrant colors. From enhancing fine motor skills to exploring basic geometry and architecture, B-Blocks Building Blocks is fun and a powerful learning tool. And they click securely together, too. They're safe and cool, perfect for boys and girls. And this is a gift they'll cherish for years to come. B-Blocks Building Blocks are available in the B-Blocks store on Amazon. Just search B-Blocks, B-E-B-L-O-X. B-Blocks Building Blocks, because every child deserves the best. Only in the B-Blocks store on Amazon. Order your child's set right now.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Lisa, and my husband and I received our MyPillow 2.0 that we ordered with Kane the other day, the buy one, get one free, and they're our first MyPillows, and we love them. We absolutely love them. They're just absolutely marvelous. Yeah, I'm so glad. I got slippers on the way, too.
Go to MyPillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and buy your MyPillow 2.0. Right now, buy one, get one free. You can also order by phone, toll free, 800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane. It's Dingus Day in Buffalo, New York, and identical twins Lila and Layla Larceny are about to change the course of their lives forever. From author Lisa Marie Shankles comes the book Lies, Lust, and Larceny: How to Retire for Free in Scandinavia, available on Amazon. After 30 remarkable years as makeover queens, the twins stand at the threshold of a new chapter. For Lila, inspiration strikes from the most unexpected source: a YouTube video, an audacious dream to retire luxuriously in Scandinavia for free. But Layla, always one step ahead in their sibling rivalry, catches wind of the plan. She races to the Nordic lands, leaving Lila behind. Author Lisa Marie Shankles invites you on this whimsical journey, following the twins to the picturesque landscapes of Norway. Filled with intrigue, wit, and hilarity, Lies, Lust, and Larceny: How to Retire for Free in Scandinavia is your next must-read book. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions. Lies, Lust, and Larceny: How to Retire for Free in Scandinavia, from author Lisa Marie Shankles. Available on Amazon.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. Okay, so another Democrat has announced they're running for president. He's a congressman from Minnesota. His name's Dean Phillips. And he gave an interview. Let me just play the interview, this clip, and then we'll talk about it. I won't intro it.
Are you running for president? I am. I have to. I think President Biden has done a spectacular job for our country, but it's not about the past. This is an election about the future. I will not sit still. I will not be quiet in the face of numbers that are so clearly saying that we're going to be facing an emergency next November.
Okay. Now, I'm going to...
Biden just had an 11-point drop this week amongst Democrats.
Yeah,
that's
huge.
Very significant.
Now, there's two things he said there. I'll do them in reverse order. One, he's declaring a Democrat emergency over Trump, that Trump is just doing so well in the polls that he seems unbeatable. So that's where he's
that's what
declaring
he's saying,
emergency.
exactly.
But what he said in the beginning is he thinks that Biden has done a great job for this country. I would like him to point to something in this country other than making the military-industrial complex rich that Biden has made better. everything in this country has got awful, and not just in this country, around the world. We have 2 wars, one in the Middle East, one in Europe that we didn't have before.
Yeah.
We've got the highest inflation in 40 years, which means those of us that are, of working age, this is the highest inflation in our adult lifetimes. And interest rates on homes is like 8%. I saw car repossessions. There was an article this week are at their highest in decades because people cannot afford
and it enrages
the car
people
payments.
Because they go on TV like Joy Behar and the news people and Biden, and they tell you everything's great, but people know it's not. They're living it. They're experiencing it. They won't acknowledge. They just keep telling you the economy's great, everything's great, but it's absolutely not.
Well, it's a matter of perspective. It depends on what business you're in. If you're in the business,
I think everybody can agree groceries and gas. Groceries are too high.
But if you're in the business of war profiteering,
right,
you're making boatloads of money because of all these wars. See, I'll tell you, and I'm the only person that has said this. I've been saying this for a long time. It was not an accident that Biden left all that military equipment brand new, the helicopters and everything in Afghanistan, because when he left it behind, not only did he leave a lot of weapons to stir up trouble back there, but we had to buy it all over again for our military. So the military-industrial complex got to sell all that stuff to the government a second time. You understand what I mean?
It's all so corrupt.
So there are people in certain industries. I'll tell you who's another industry that's doing very well, the oil industry. Biden has driven up the price of oil to about $100 a barrel. It was about $40 a barrel when Trump was in office. So there's certain sectors of the economy that are doing well, but for the average American, it's tough.
Yeah.
And things are getting worse. Now,
they don't care. They don't care at all.
Real America Voice, if you guys don't have it, you should get it. It's very good. If you don't have it on your cable system, you can download the app, the Real America Voice app. You can download it. I have it downloaded on our television as well as my phone and iPad. It's really good. One of the Real America Voice reporters confronted in the halls of Congress Tlaib, and I know the audio isn't the best, but beggars can't be choosers. But he was questioning her, and she was running from him as he was and then she ran into her office and shut the door. And it's her office because out front it has the rainbow flag and the Palestinian flag. And
those two go together so well.
Exactly. But we're the homophobes, but the Palestinians.
It's like illegal to be gay in Muslim Palestinian countries, but she's got those. Shows how stupid she is.
Do you think there's any gay bars in Gaza?
No, I don't.
I don't think so. Do you think
so ridiculous?
Do you think in Gaza that people have preferred pronouns?
It's like somebody having a Black Lives Matter flag and a Confederate flag outside their door. I mean, they just don't go together. They're not chocolate
or a Klan flag and a BLM flag.
It's ridiculous.
So, but anyway, she runs into her office, shuts the door, and she starts screaming at her staff, and the guy can hear what she's saying.
She's unstable.
Yeah, the guy's hearing from Real America Voice. The reporter is hearing what Tlaib is saying to her staff, and he relays it to people.
Oh my goodness!
And she called the Capitol Police on him, and he has a confrontation, which is very interesting that he describes with the Capitol Police. So, sadly, I don't know the name of this reporter, but he's with Real America Voice, and they're spectacular. Listen,
Congresswoman, will you denounce Hamas? Will you denounce Hamas? Why do you support terrorists?
Keep in mind, Hamas just murdered how many people?
Yep.
And they rape women, then kill them, and they're kidnapping women.
Hostages,
and you can't denounce that. And in our neighborhood, because we're in, and I don't know if this is going on around the country, but we're in South Florida, and in South Florida we have a large Jewish population. There are more Jews in Florida than in Israel,
probably.
And in our neighborhood, at multiple places, there are like missing flyers.
Yep.
They're not missing flyers. They say kidnapped, and they're the Israelis who were kidnapped by Hamas that have still not been returned. They're on all the light posts and crosswalks all over town. All right, so let me rewind it. We'll play the whole thing. This is good.
Congresswoman, will you denounce Hamas? Will you denounce Hamas? Why do you support terrorists?
You're dehumanizing Palestinians.
No, you're supporting terrorists. No, you're supporting terrorists. You're supporting terrorists.
She's in her office.
Oh my gosh, I can hear her. She's unhinged.
Yeah, you can hear her yelling. Now he's going to tell us what he hears her saying.
She's screaming in there.
What a kook.
That's who we have in Congress, guys. That's who we have in Congress. Right there. I heard her say, I don't want to be here anymore. That makes two of us for you.
Okay, now this is an interesting...
She can't handle it.
This is an interesting thing. I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
This is... A lot of people believe this. I am one of them. And I don't think this is a radical thought that you haven't heard before.
Yeah.
She's a spy. And the reason that when President Trump took out that Iranian general that was organizing all the terrorism, he did not inform Congress, which was very unusual, is because he was afraid Tlaib and Ilhan Omar would tell them before it happened.
And they would.
And this goes back in the first segment to the young Turk talking about changing the law so we can have foreigners president, foreign-born people.
Can you imagine?
This is why you can't. I know she's a U.S. citizen, but when she says, I don't want to be here anymore, what I'm wondering is she lashing out at her handler in her office like, I don't want to do this anymore?
Is she talking about being in Congress or being in America?
I think handling what's going on in Congress. But anyway, it's not over yet. Let's go back to it.
Maybe she's saying, I don't want to be in America anymore, or I don't want to be in one or the other, or both.
I don't think she likes this.
She can't handle the pressure she's under.
Her cover's been blown.
Yeah.
It was blown as soon as I heard her name the first time. All right.
She's screaming in there.
Oh my God.
That's who we have in Congress, guys. That's who we have in Congress. Right there. I heard her say, I don't want to be here anymore. That makes two of us for you. Apparently they called the Capitol Police, so the police officer just went inside. I told him thank him for his service. Ironic, isn't it? The same people that want to defund the police are the first ones to call them for being asked questions. That's the tough thing. Being asked questions. So apparently, this representative, so-called representative, doesn't want to be asked questions by American citizens. A representative of America who supports Palestine, but not America. That's the world we're living in today. The officers just came out, and they walked away. I said, am I okay? They said, you're okay, sir. Just don't impede the members. Would never think about it. Never, ever think about it. Just here to ask questions and hold them accountable.
Okay. Now, this is an interesting thing because this is one of the takeaways I took from that clip. The Capitol Police now, of course, they work under the Speaker of the House. We have this new Speaker of the House, very MAGA, conservative Christian guy. If the Democrats were running, or even McCarthy, who might as well be a Democrat, would the Capitol Police had been so nice to this guy, giving Tlaib a hard time? I believe that Tlaib should not only just be – I know Marjorie Taylor Greene has made a motion to censure her. I think she should be removed from Congress, and there really should be some investigating going on to find out whether or not she's a spy. And there should be a major investigation of her about this. Maybe she's not. Maybe she's, but she doesn't act normal. And,
she must be getting, though, she's really,
she's
she
cracked.
didn't just come unglued because of this guy.
No.
This has been building, and ever since these hostages were taken, she's probably been getting a lot of heat from other people she encounters on the street, or people that see her, or she's probably getting inundated with emails, phone calls, and this is she's at the breaking point here. This is not the beginning of her breakdown. This is at the climax of her breakdown.
Yeah, she's
This
cracked.
is what's been building up to this, and this guy just totally set her off. I don't think her breakdown just came out of nowhere. I think it's been building and building and building, and this guy just got her at the right time. He just was there, you know what I mean? And we've seen her on TV. I mean, she's unhinged. She's a lunatic. She's crazy. Well, her parents are from the Middle East.
Yeah,
too, so.
and obviously her loyalties are not here.
For sure.
All right, now, Robert Kennedy Jr. is going after conservative votes. And it's very important, people, not to fall for anything about Robert Kennedy. I have respect for Robert Kennedy and who he is and such. But we don't want to lose any MAGA votes to him. He's a threat to the Democrats, not us, because he is a Democrat. But he wrote that book about Fauci, and there will be some Republicans because of the Fauci business that will go and vote for Robert Kennedy now. But not that many, handful. It'll be mostly Democrats, because Democrats go nuts when it comes to the Kennedys. They just go nuts. But that's just the way it is. But the media are trying to portray it that he is going to hurt Trump. Well, a few days ago, he came out in favor of reparations. We were talking about that on the podcast. We were saying, well, that's going to be it for him with any conservative vote. So he's taken that back now.
That's right. He's took it off his website.
And the fact that Robert Kennedy changed his position on reparations, now he's against them, it tells me that he's targeting conservatives to vote for him, not Democrats.
And it makes me really suspicious of who's behind him now, because he is trying to chip away at Trump.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that cannot be trusted.
Yeah.
That move, because reparations is definitely a Democratic thing. That move right there tells me that he is going after Trump voters, and that somebody in the Democratic Party is behind him. And don't let them think that he's some maverick outlaw.
Yeah.
He's in with these people. He's a Democrat. He's ensconced with this party. His whole family is. And he is the Ross Perot of this election. And Ross Perot had people behind him. That was not a fluke. This guy's got big people behind him. And you're going to see his platform slowly changing, I think, over the next to a more conservative platform over the next few months.
Yeah, you can't
keep your eyes
him.
peeled for that.
Now, that doesn't mean that I wouldn't be interested in meeting Robert Kennedy. I mean, because all of us have respect for his father and his uncle. And it's not that I would love to meet him and shake his hand, but don't fall for anything and vote for him, guys.
That's a very significant move right there.
And this move here, even though it seems tiny and I got respect for him. Like I'm appalled that Biden will not give him Secret Service protection. He's had one assassination attempt already. This guy that was pretending to be a federal agent.
Right.
This week, a man trespassed into his home. His private security turned the guy over to the police. The police immediately released him, and he came and trespassed again.
Oh, my goodness.
Both times, Robert Kennedy was home.
That's scary.
So I'm appalled that Biden won't give him Secret Service protection, which Biden is not doing because he doesn't want to give him credibility as a presidential candidate.
Right.
And that federal agent assassination attempt was just about 2 miles from where his father was killed in Los Angeles. So, I mean, this is just not right. Now, I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And, those of you that are Patreon supporters, make sure that you visit the Patreon page, because there are things there that are exclusive to Patreon supporters, including commercial-free editions of all the podcast episodes. But Kathy and I post a lot of other things there that no one else sees except those of you that are Patreon supporters. And, the Patreon page has a page that looks kind of like Facebook. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a Facebook kind of format. Facebook kind of like
you post things and you can leave comments.
It's a similar looking platform, So we have a Patreon community there. We post things and then you can comment and interact, and there's all kinds of things there. So if you're a Patreon supporter, make sure you take advantage of all that and become a part of that community in a little more active way if you'd like, by regularly going to the Patreon page. If you'd like to join up and be a patron of the program, the link is in the description of this and every episode. And if you click on that link and you go there, it'll explain to you how to become a Patreon supporter. And one of the perks is that our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. So the names you'll hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, ActicFox, Heather, David, Richard, Melissa, and Maria in Texas. So we have some top Patreon supporters there. Welcome to all of you guys, and thank you for your
thank
support.
you, all of you guys.
Now, there's an update on a story I talked about on the morning live stream today on the radio that the African American Historical Society in Charlottesville has melted down the statue of Robert E. Lee that's caused all the controversies over the years. This has got awful. Being in Florida was a Confederate state, and there are when you live in the South like we do, there are all kinds of symbols of both the Civil War, Jim Crow, and slavery and segregation all over the place. They're not highlighted that much, but they're all over our community. I'll tell you about a couple of them. There is a children's museum here in not too far from where we live. It's in a city called Delray Beach, little tiny city, and they have a beautiful beach in Delray Beach. Oh my goodness, do they have a beautiful beach?
Oh yeah, Delray's nice. A lot of retired people live there. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's got one of the nicest beaches in South Florida. But anyway, they have a children's museum that used to be the city hall for the city like 100 years ago.
Right.
And it's a small building, and if you go to the men's room and the ladies' room, it still says colored over the doorways, and they've left it there. And it's important to leave it there.
It is.
So that we know that the Democrat Jim Crow era, they segregated. And
in fact, you went there with Emily when she was little on a school field trip, and you were a chaperone. And I remember Emily saw that, and
I told her about it.
It was an opening for you to talk to her about it and tell her, if this was 40 years ago, you would not be allowed to use the same bathroom as your mother.
She'd be able to use that one because it was the color.
Right, but you explained to her how she would have had to use a separate bathroom than a white person.
It's insane, and that's
a teaching moment.
Yeah, and that's the way it is. When I was young and I was in fifth grade in Florida, I was kind of new to Florida. I started school in Florida in fourth grade. Before that, I lived in Ohio. But in fifth grade, I went to a school that was an elementary school, but it used to be the black high school, and everyone in town called it the colored high school.
Right.
It was the segregated. That was less than 20 years after the desegregation. There is, I show this a lot of times. I do a lot of vlogging on my YouTube channel, Brian Craig Show, and anytime I go to Fort Lauderdale Beach, I always show this. There's a Fort Lauderdale Beach during the Democrat Jim Crow era was racially segregated. Blacks weren't allowed at the beach. And there's a plaque memorializing the NAACP and other activists who led on the beaches of Florida these things called wade-ins. You've heard of sit-ins. You've heard about the Freedom Riders. Along the beaches were segregated. Blacks had a beach that they could go to, which even still today is the dumpiest beach in South Florida.
Dania Beach. I think it was Hulliver. Dania
Beach. No, Hulliver Beach. That's the nude beach in Miami, Kathy.
Oh, yeah, Dania Beach sucks.
But it's one of the worst beaches, and that was the black beach.
Yep.
So they led a series of wade-ins, W-A-D-E, like wading in water, wade-ins, where blacks went to the segregated white beaches and went and swam.
Right.
And there's a plaque there memorializing it. 100,000 people go by it every day, don't even know what's. So you don't want to take these things down.
Yeah, but Democrats don't want you to know. They don't want young people to know how far we have come. They want people to think that it's still like this.
Yes.
They don't want to have that context where you can compare to from 50 years ago, 60 years ago, where black kids could even go to the same school as white kids.
That's correct.
And that was they don't want you to have that context. That, wow, things have really changed. Things are so much better than they used to be. They want you to think it's just like it was back then.
And they don't want you to know that these racists like General Lee were Democrats.
Well, because they've redefined what it means to be a racist.
Yeah.
And when you have that now, just saying something against somebody or being critical, or even if you're being, constructive criticism, anything is now, or if you have an opinion different than another person that's black or something, you're deemed a bigot or racist, because they don't want young people to understand what real racism is. That this is the new racism. Never mind the fact that they had Democratic Klan members going into people's homes and kidnapping people or grabbing them in the streets and hanging them on trees, or that they weren't allowed to use the same bathroom or ride the bus or any of that. They don't want you to remember any of that, because that's real racism. they've redefined what racism is. Now it's just disagreeing with somebody that's a different skin color.
And the update from this morning when I was talking about it is when the Black Historical Organization melted down the General Lee statue, they did it in secret, they did it in private. And since this morning, video and photographs have come out of it. And you can see the face of General Lee. It's disgusting. It's the equivalent of book burning. What they're doing is they're destroying landmarks of history.
I agree with you.
So that they can rewrite it with the 1619 Project critical race theory nonsense, as opposed to the history that we have in our community. And I was watching what's come out so far of them melting down that statue. It's like something out of Nazi Germany when they were burning the books.
It's scary. I mean,
it is scary.
I know General Lee was Confederate, but
he led the Confederate Army.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that was a good cause, but it is our history. It's part of our history, and it needs to be remembered, and it needs to be talked about and not hidden. And I don't understand that, but watching that video to me was, I'm not some big fan of Lee, or I think he's some wonderful person.
Yeah.
He did at the time what he thought was right, but
he was wrong.
And he was wrong, obviously. But watching that was creepy to me, and it was really weird. And the fact that they did it in all this secrecy is strange to me.
It is. Listen, we're going to take our last break. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more to cover. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Have you prepared for your family's future and secured a lasting legacy? If you haven't, you're not alone. And that's where Dream Keepers Radio comes in. Dream Keepers Radio is your dedicated resource for empowering gifted guardians just like you. Their mission is clear: to provide you with the knowledge and strategies needed to protect your generational dreams. Each episode of Dream Keepers Radio covers crucial topics such as financial literacy, estate planning, and asset protection. Their expert guests share invaluable insights, helping you navigate the intricate world of preserving your family's financial future. Dream Keepers Radio is your key to protecting generational dreams. Find Dream Keepers Radio on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Player FM. Join the community and be a part of a journey to secure your family's dreams. Dream Keepers Radio, where dreams become legacies. From author Thomas Quill comes your next must-read book, Crying Daughters, available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com. In São Paulo, Brazil, meet Jacob Gray, a man with a dark military past who plunges deep into the city's underworld. His mission is to rescue the victims of human trafficking. He's driven by the experience of his girlfriend, Alessandra, once a victim herself. With every tactical move, Jacob unravels an international web of crime, revealing shocking truths about renowned hotel chains. But the stakes rise higher. He's spotted at the airport and danger lurks. Now Lugo, a ghost from Jacob's past, is playing a double game. With law enforcement from the Americas rallying together, the battle intensifies. And in the heart of Mexico with high-stakes espionage comes a twist no one sees coming. As Alessandra's life hangs in the balance, will vengeance drive Jacob's final stand? Find out when you read Crying Daughters, available on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com from author Thomas Quill. Crying Daughters is filled with intrigue, sacrifice, and the fight against the darkness. Crying Daughters will keep you on the edge of your seat. Order your copy right now. Crying Daughters from author Thomas Quill. Are you ready to help make the world a brighter place? Then check out Good Vibes Thread Company, a company that's dedicated to spreading positivity. Good Vibes Thread Company was born in the heart of Charlotte, North Carolina in 2023. Their shirts are as soft and comfy as they come. They're available in sizes from children to adult because feeling good should look good. But they're more than just a business, they're a family. They're inspired by their children who encourage them. And let's face it, kids aren't shy about giving honest feedback. They create designs that make you feel like a part of the family, no matter who you are. Explore their collection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, and stickers. And don't miss out on Alex's Lemonade Stand collection. Good Vibes Thread Company proudly partner with Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation to make a positive impact on children fighting pediatric cancer. A portion of every purchase supports them. Be a part of something bigger. Shop now at goodvibesthreadco.com. And right now, they're accepting applicants for their affiliate program. Join the family and spread positivity with every step you take. goodvibesthreadco.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. So they're going to make Ivanka testify against her father. Ivanka Trump has been ordered to testify in that New York case with that wackadoodle judge, that likes to sit right next to his lady clerk. He ruled that Ivanka, despite having left her Trump Organization job in 2017 and moving out of New York, still possesses relevant information crucial to the case. So they're going to haul her on the stand and testify against her father. This is so absurdly ridiculous. This judge, though, he's going to come down with some hard orders on Trump. He fined him $10,000 this week and warned him that if he continues,
he hates Trump.
It's going to be worse, and Trump's still going after him. And
what do you think that's about? Do you think that's a good strategy? I think Trump wants to go to jail.
Well, this judge.
Him.
The thing about this judge in New York, this is in the real estate case. That they say that Mar-a-Lago's worth only $18 million. Only $18 million. I did a YouTube video a couple of weeks ago where I used Zillow?
Yep.
Okay, I went on Zillow. There's a lot of property for sale around Mar-a-Lago, tiny lots compared to Mar-a-Lago. Some of them don't even have any. They're empty, and they're valued at much more than $18 million. And I did a YouTube video last weekend where I showed the sunrise at Mar-a-Lago, and I gave a tour, and people that are MAGA were shocked at how large Mar-a-Lago is.
It's huge.
Mar-a-Lago has a tunnel that goes under the street to go to the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, it
has its own private beach too.
Its own private beach club.
Yeah, there's homes there. Like Brett Baer just bought a relatively small home compared to that for $37 million. It's like a 4-bedroom house, or not that big compared to what other people have there. Rush Limbaugh's widow just sold her house, $150 million, all in the same area. So, and that's just a home. This is a resort, where they have events and weddings, and it has apartments, and people that are members stay there on property, like on vacation. It has rooms and everything. So, he just lives in one little section, but it's a huge resort, has a private beach, like you said, beautiful landscaping. I would imagine the landscaping alone is worth about $18 million. If you go there, palm trees are not cheap. Okay. They're could be some of them $50,000 each. They're very expensive trees. Mm-hmm. There's palm tree farms not far from our house, and just a small palm tree can set you back $1,000 or a couple $1,000.
The ones at Mar-a-Lago though are much more.
They're like the big royal palms that are probably $50,000 each.
Yeah, they're
maybe $100,000.
They're
very expensive.
Yeah.
So I think the landscaping alone.
No, she said $50,000 for a palm tree. She's not kidding.
No, I think the landscaping alone would be worth $18 million. Not even aside from the building and the property. It's got to be worth at least $150.
On my YouTube video, I showed the outside bathroom doors for the men's room and the ladies' room for the tennis courts, and those doors cost more than most people's new cars. You can tell.
Oh, yeah.
They're made out of, I don't know, what's the most expensive wood? Mahogany or something?
And Trump does not buy cheap materials. He buys top of the line everything. You know what I mean? So when he I know he didn't build that building, but when he renovates a building or does anything like that, and especially it's when he lives. Well, what do you think's behind this? Do you think Trump is trying to get? I don't think this guy's going to put him in jail, but you never know. Is he trying to get that to happen? What does that mean if he throws him in jail for 6 months?
I do not know, but I'm going to guess. Okay, because a lot of people, I didn't go to the Supreme Court. Why hasn't he gone to the Supreme Court? I think he needs to get a judge's final ruling on things before he can go to the Supreme Court. So I think he's poking the bear a little bit with this judge.
Do you think his lawyers are? Well, I don't even know if he's taking his lawyer's advice anymore. They all end up getting arrested. But do you think his lawyers are mad that or are they telling him you need to keep your mouth shut? Or he's the kind of guy who doesn't like to be clearly told what to do, especially when he knows he's being railroaded. And I understand that. And I think he's probably the only person on the planet that would react to this judge this way.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anybody else risking going to jail by talking and insulting continuously. So, I'm trying to think, is he just angry and frustrated, or is there a method or a
It's hard to say. There's no way to know. There's no way to, but he is poking this particular judge.
Well, and we know this judge is a big anti-Trump, and this judge would
kook.
love.
The judge is a kook.
He would love to be the guy to throw Trump in jail. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He's just sitting there going, "Give me a reason."
Well, that'd be an interesting thing if because he said the next time
it's gonna be worse.
It's going to be so he could order a night in jail or a week in jail, and I don't know how. It'd be interesting to see how that would fly.
How much jail time could he give him for that?
I don't know.
For insulting him.
I don't know.
For violating a gag order.
I don't know. I've never seen anything like this before. And these judges against Trump in these cases don't care about the law. This judge in this real estate case in New York is an outsider. He sees this case as a way for him to be invited into the inner elite New York liberal circles. So,
I'm sure he's already gotten invitations.
Oh yeah, so that's a lot what he's doing here. There's a lot of ego, and he's like Judge Ito during OJ was the same way.
And if he puts Trump in jail, he's going to be the hero of the left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it will not only historically make him extremely significant that he jailed a president.
All the history books.
I mean, his name would be remembered forever.
Every history
books
book
and everything. So I think it's going to happen. I think Trump's giving him a reason to do it, and I think this guy's going to take it. But I don't know why Trump is egging him on like this.
I don't know, but I'm enjoying it.
He's not a stupid man. No. I don't understand.
He's smarter than that judge. But that's not saying a lot. This judge looks like a stupid person.
I still think, though, I could be wrong, but I still think that the Secret Service has because he's got too many. He's just got such balls. I feel like the Secret Service has told Trump, "We will not let you go to jail. That's never going to happen," because he's so confident with all these things. He doesn't seem worried about that. He talks about it. I'll go. I don't care. But he seems like it's not a worry, and I'm really wondering if the Secret Service has told these judges and these DAs, you cannot put him in jail. We will not allow it to happen.
No, they haven't told him
We
that.
can't secure it enough. It's not safe. Yeah, but they could. I mean, they're in control of what he does and where he goes for the rest of his life. Okay, that's how it is. They have to okay everything, and they have to set up perimeters. How can they secure a jail?
No, they can't.
And right. So they might be telling him, there's no way you're going to jail no matter what the judge says. We won't let that happen.
Well,
maybe that's why he's out saying these things.
This weirdo kook judge in New York, we're going to find out soon because the guy's showboating and it's
I almost want him to do it just to kind of see how. I don't want to see Trump in jail, but I'm curious how it would play out, and I think it would really piss off the American people like nobody's business.
Well, listen, we're out of time for today. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife.